Hi. So we'll be starting with lesson 13, your various initial registrations and licenses. Now, to complete this chapter, it's a 19 to 20 mark chapter and I will be covering entirely in one flow. And I want you to take a book and a pen. There are certain things that would come, like for example, certain acts for registrations and licenses. You need to take a book and a pen and write down the key points which will help you build a 5 mark answer. So all we need to do is be able to build a 5 mark answer. Since I'm doing everything from the module, it's possible that questions are framed only from here. I've also gone through the past year papers. The past year papers are put up in the app as well, so you can go ahead and download it. So now you just have to hold back, stop whatever you're doing, keep your module in front of you, a book, pen, and give me approximately 1 hour. I will complete this 20 marker chapter for you. With me, you will finish so that you don't need to study it again. Let's start. So, various initial registrations and licenses. The very first thing that they have given is about a PAN card. How do you get a PAN card? What are the documents to be given? So I've highlighted a few points. Now PAN card is something all of us have. A PAN card is issued. So what we need to do is to learn a few ministries who we can write. Okay. So can you tell me income PAN card is issued by which ministry or which department? So I believe you must be knowing it's the income tax department that issues the PAN card, and in income tax department comes under the Ministry of Finance. So we will say a PAN is permanent account number is issued by the income tax department, Ministry of Finance. Second, it is a number, as we all have, it is a 10-digit alphanumerical number. So there are alphabets as well as numbers. Now remember one thing, most of your licenses that we'll be doing will be 10 digits numbers, which will be alphanumeric. Cool. Now, and also we will write one more line, since we know it is connected with the income tax. We will quote Income Tax Act 1961 and Income Tax Rules 1962. Is this clear? So 1961 and 1962 is what we will write. So these are all the points that we will write. Few more points I'll give you. Now, utility of a PAN card. Now, it's possible that you all don't need to have a PAN card because no income tax, no PAN card. So only those who have income, who have to pay income tax or deduct income tax need to have a PAN number. It is a unique card issued to income taxpayers. Now, uh, one important thing with PAN card is the government traces your income. So they come to know all your financial transactions. So it enables to identify and link all your transactions of the PAN with the income tax department. It is needed whenever you're deducting TDS, TCS, making tax payments. PAN number is mandatory. Next, it also facilitates retrieval of information of PAN card holders, such as if you bought shares, automatically need any investments, PAN card will be needed, and from PAN card we will come to know your holdings, the borrowings, because whenever you go to take a loan also PAN card is taken, and any other business activity of the PAN holder we will come to know just with the help of a PAN card. Then it also serves as a identity proof of large number of purposes. So multiple times when you're buying any stock, shares, gold, etc., PAN card is needed. So these are the usages of PAN card. Next we see for whom it is mandatory. So for you it is not mandatory because you don't have any income, so no income tax, so no PAN. So every person, if his income is above the income tax slab rate, only then this is needed. Second, a charitable trust by default, since it's a business organization, needs to have a PAN. Then this part is there that if any business or profession has a turnover of over 5 lakhs, they need to have a PAN card. Then a person, so this is one threshold limit that you can remember, write it down, it will help you. Every person who is carrying on any business and making a total sales or turnover has to have a PAN card. Every person who enters into a specified financial transaction who wants to quote a PAN wherever it is needed, he will have to obtain a PAN card. Every non individual who does a financial transaction which is about 2.5 lakh, so 2,50,000 के ऊपर जाएगा, this PAN card is needed. Okay, so 5 lakhs sale, 2.5 lakh का transaction. So 2.5 lakh का transaction, maybe it could be not a sale, but I am a business, I'm making a payment of 2,50,000. PAN card is needed. Okay. Now significant of PAN for setting up of businesses. Okay, so in some reasons why holding PAN is important for every business. First, it is mandatory by the Income Tax Department 1961. So remember, we will quote the what we need to know, the whichever topic we are doing, its act and the ministry which governs it. Chalo, next, the most important past exam question also for PAN card. If they ask, you will write. If I don't take the PAN card, so what will happen? In absence of a PAN card, the government will charge a withholding tax which will be at a rate of more than 30% of the total invoice billed. So if I am there and I don't have a PAN card, then the government will tax 30%. For companies, whether it be foreign or Indian companies, if they don't have a PAN, then the government will deduct the highest possible tax rate. So these are the two really big disadvantages of not having a PAN. 30% withholding tax is deducted, and for companies, highest tax slab rate is applied. Okay. What is the significance of a PAN? You can track financial transaction of a PAN card holder. Next is also required to be mentioned in the income tax return. So PAN card, if you're filing an income tax, obviously there also it is needed to fill your income tax return. Just like companies who are required to provide their TAN number to whomever they are paying, a TRN number can be obtained only when you are holding a PAN. Means if you want TRN, we'll see what it is. That's the next topic. If a company wants a TRN or a person wants a TRN, he has to quote a PAN. तो अगर वो चाहिए तो ये भी चाहिए, ये भी requirement है. Now coming to application of PAN, very simple. Application में form number आएगा, and form number is for an Indian company they've given and a foreign company they've given, along with how much charges are there. So very simple. I want you all to write this down. 49A is for Indian company. Okay. So application for allotment of new PAN is given in form number 49A, and for foreign citizens, for Indians it's in 49A, and for foreigners, foreign companies, it will be in form 49AA. Clear? So this is important. The PAN number is an important document for conducting even the most simplest of financial transactions, such as opening a saving account or applying for a debit or credit card. I'm sure you're making notes, so you just have enough material to build a 5 mark or max 7 mark answer. Moving ahead, in the present case, the application for allotment of PAN can be made online. Now we'll come to that also. What are the documents, etc. If it's an individual, we will require to give a proof of address. In most of the cases, you see a COI is needed, a certificate of incorporation, or a certificate of presence. Okay, we will see what all it is. Now PAN can be applied. Now all these documents can be applied online and offline. Online is you can go to the now where will you go? Very important. If I want to go and apply for the PAN, so where will I go? So there are two ways where I can go, okay, for getting a PAN card. One is the NSDL. Okay, I go to the NSDL site, or I can go to the UTI ITSL site. Okay, so this is the Infrastructure Service Limited, UTI Infrastructure Service Limited.com or NSDL. So I can choose. So I will do inky, pinky, whichever I want, and I will accordingly choose. If I'm giving an offline application, Then obviously you have to get physical forms and 49A for for Indians and 49AA for foreign companies. Next, the charges for the PAN, so they have given that also, is 93 rupees. So 100 रुपए में 7 रुपए कम, in 107 rupees less is the cost of PAN. Okay, and for Indian communication, and rupees 864, तो उन्हें हम लोग डॉलर में बताएंगे, rupees 864 for foreign communication address. Payment of application fee can be made either through debit or credit card or whichever net banking facility. Next, all your PAN is now mandatory by the government as per section 139 AA, that every person who obtains a Aadhaar is required to link his Aadhaar with the PAN. Clear till here? So in PAN card, if I just try to recall what all we will write. So PAN card is a permanent account number issued by the income tax authority coming under the Ministry of Finance. The section the form 49A, 49AA, 93 rupees is there for the cost. What are the other points? What all documents you require? Your photograph, your, if it's a company, your proof of incorporation is needed. Okay, the details is needed. Then PAN card usage, where all you can use. So PAN card can be used, is mandatory if you have to pay tax, if you have to deduct TDS, if you have to deduct TCS. So PAN is required. So all those points you keep so that you can build on PAN. Okay. Now coming to the next thing. So this is the second question that can come apart from PAN, that is your, so is your TAN. Now what is TAN and who is required to obtain a TAN? So TAN, the full form is Tax Deduction and Collection Account Number. So employers, companies who pay salary, who give professional charges are, as per the Income Tax Act 1961 and as per the Income Tax Rules 1962, are required to make some deductions. ओके थोड़े डिडक्शंस करने उनको, तो डिडक्शन करने के लिए if any person who wants to make a deduction of income tax has to get a TAN certificate. Okay, a TAN number लेना पड़ेगा उनको. It is in the form of a certificate. They will keep that, see, I have a TAN number. Maybe if you've gone in any shops or any of your companies, you will see that the company has been given a TAN number. With that they are eligible to deduct tax. अगेन ये भी 10 डिजिट नंबर है, अल्फा न्यूमेरिक. इनकम टैक्स का सबका सेम होता है, 10 डिजिट अल्फा न्यूमेरिक. रिक्वायर्ड टू ऑब्टेन बाय ऑल पर्संस हु आर रिस्पांसिबल फॉर डिडक्टिंग और कलेक्टिंग टैक्स. Now section 203A of the Income Tax Act, it is mandatory to quote the TAN number allotted by the Income Tax Department on all TDS returns. Now common sense है, TDS डिडक्ट करने के लिए ही TAN ले रहा हूँ. मेरे एम्प्लॉयर हूँ, एम्प्लॉय को टैक्स काट के दूंगा, तो इफ आई कट द टैक्स आई नीड टू फर्स्ट बाय लॉ गेट दिस certificate, this number that yes, I am so and so person, I am deducting this tax and I give it to the government. Okay. Now persons liable to apply for TAN, very simple. Every person liable to deduct TDS will have to obtain a TAN. Second, however, now they have given you two sections, not important, ये लोग में नहीं है, exempted है. Now let's see this. Any individual or HUF is liable to deduct a tax at a rate of 5% while making the payment of rent of any land or building. So whenever they are making payment of rent exceeding 50,000 rupees, for a month. तो अगर 50,000 रुपए का भाड़ा दे रहे, तो इफ दे आर गिविंग 50,000 rupees का रेंट, okay, so then TAN has to be deducted. Now just remember, if you notice one section here continuously, and I believe we can at least quote that much in a very intelligent way, that section 194, section 194, section 194, section 194. Please put in the chat box what is section 194. Common sense, it is about TDS. So we will write that the provisions of TDS Act will apply, and accordingly to deduct TDS, this TAN number is taken. So provides for deduction of tax at a rate of 5% for a sum Okay, whenever we're giving any of this amount, if the aggregate of such sum exceeds 50 lakh rupees. Again, so this is all TDS related. Provides for deduction of tax at a rate of 5% from the sum paid, okay, in a year on account of any contractual work done by or a professional fees by an individual or a HUF in aggregate of. So whenever company is making these payments 50 lakh rupees or 50,000 rupees as rent, they will have to deduct TDS. Okay. Now coming to the relevance of TAN. What is the relevance of TAN? Repeat it. So we will also repeat what is the relevant of TAN. Every person who deducts TDS, so we will in this section 19 has to be quoted. Income Tax Department, Ministry of Finance has to be quoted. Okay, it is mandatory to quote TAN in the following documents: TDS, TCS, financial transaction, challan for TDS, TCS, and any other documents as required by law. Okay. Now moving ahead, procedure to apply for TAN. Now again, as we saw, PAN, there is online offline. So here also there is online offline, and very interesting. Exactly the form after PAN will be TAN. नाम भी राइम हो रहा है पैन टैन. तो 49A तो ये कौन सा होगा 49B. ठीक है, तो राइम होता है और उसके सीक्वेंस में ही है. फॉर दिस द फॉर्म नंबर इज फॉर्म नंबर 49B. ओके, इसके भी कैसे करेंगे, NSDL साइट पर डालेंगे. फॉर दिस ऑनलाइन वी कैन गो टू द NSDL TIN वेबसाइट. ओके, टैक्स आइडेंटिफिकेशन नंबर. ओके, now application to go through up this I whichever I put green na is something which is very common, which you can use as an answer builder. Applicants should go through the instructions and guidelines provided in the application form before filing the form. Now with this line I can just build an answer that obviously any form the applicant should go through the instructions and guidelines provided in the application form before filing it. तो ये तो मैं कोई भी फॉर्म में डाल सकता हूँ. Next, so it's just an answer builder. Next, with respect to companies nowadays, you must have heard of a form INC Spice Plus form, in which Agile form is also there. So whenever companies are incorporated today, they automatically can apply for this TAN number. They get GST number, TAN number, all under that form. So companies today who are filing Spice form, okay, they also have this Agile form where they can get all these numbers. So एक Agile form दिया हुआ है. Now where to get the physical form? तो किधर मिलेगा? So first, from where to get form 49B is freely downloadable from the income tax website. It is also available on the TIN FC. Okay, so FC is financial centers, where you can go to these financial centers where they help people to do. So in almost in every place, whether it be for companies or it be for income tax department or GST officers, there are facilitation centers. These facilitation centers have professionals who help you fill this form. They will give you yellow form, no TAN भर के देंगे. Then legible copies of the form 49B. Now they have said that in case if you can't find, then if it is exact same content, you can still file with that also. So legible photocopies. तो photocopy भी भर सकते हो of the which is exactly as per the format are also allowed to be used. No separate TAN is obtained for the purpose of TCS if TAN is already given for the purpose of TDS. TAN given can be used for TDS or TCS. Now documents to be submitted along with TAN. No documents are given. It is given on it is automated. You just get an acknowledgement. So just by filling the form, automatically the details it will pick up. These, because you quote your PAN, right? So PAN से पूरी details वो लोग background में they pull it up. Now these applications are digitized by the NSDL, forwarded to the, now pay attention. Now application का sequence देखो. These TAN applications are digitized by NSDL, who then give it to the income tax department. Then the income tax department will issue the TAN. they will issue the TAN, and the NSDL will then inform the applicant that this is your TAN number. So NSDL is acting as an intermediary between the income tax department and the application applicant. Status, now this is also very common. Green, if I've given, moment I put green, means it is repetitive. You can build and fit it everywhere. Now I personally have also made a lot of form filings. Okay, now form filing in all any MCA portal you go, in form filing, moment you fill a form, you get a SRN number. With that SRN number, you can track the status of your application. कि भाई क्या हुआ, pending, reject, what is the status? So I can keep checking. Same way, green means it is common. And in case if nothing is coming, then I call on the helpline number. Same points they have given here. The applicant may track the status uh, using the status track facility. Okay, you get a unique number, acknowledgement number like a SRN number. Then if the alternatively अगर वो नहीं तुमको check करना है, तो you can also call on the call center on the numbers prescribed in the portal. This facility can be accessed from the website from the income tax department too. Now why I'm giving you this green? This green is suppose if you blank out, पता नहीं क्या लिखना है, तो एटलीस्ट ये कॉमन आंसर बिल्डर तो है, 2 मार्क तक खींच ही सकते हो. Now I am done with PAN and TAN, both connected with Ministry of Finance, Income Tax Department. Form number 49A, form number 49AA, and form number 49B. Now we'll go to GST. Now GST, I believe you must be having the knowledge of GST in your tax, but let me just quickly take you through, because you never know, you might have not revised and they will ask you for GST. Okay, so they don't trust ICSI in all these things. They can definitely so just a sec, go to okay. So okay, so I'll just tell you directly only. So GST, you can still do it. Please do it properly. ICSI can act very strange and they will ask you GST because they know you are going to skip this. So GST portal, just remember section. Now this you write it with me. Finish it off with me only. Section 22 to section number 30 deals with registration. Section 22 says entities which require compulsory registration. Entities which require registration. Okay, this is turnover based. Turnover based. If you hit the turnover, and what is the turnover? Anyone knows? Can they put in the chat box? For manufacturers are there, and for service providers are there. For others, what is the limit given? For manufacturers, they have kept it for 40 lakh rupees, and for others, they have kept it to 20 lakh rupees. If I cross these thresholds, then I need to apply for this. This is threshold limit is given under 22. 24 section number 24, section 24 says which require compulsory registration. Now compulsory registration, all those who are supplying to e-commerce operators, those who are giving interstate supplies, your TD, those who are required to deduct TDS, those who are required to deduct TCS, all these require mandatory registration. Okay, now so these limits for northeastern states, it's not for 20 lakhs, it's 10 lakhs, and for those who are in exclusive supply of goods, limit is 40 lakhs. So just we should know it, so we can build the answer in case if they ask. Section number 24, I told you, which requires mandatory liable. Okay, irrespective of turnover, एक उनको registration करना ही है. Section number 23 gives you who are exempt from registration under GST, like your agriculturists, etc. Okay, or those who are dealing in wholly exempt goods. Then they go on to tell you the GSTN number. Okay, the GSTN number So on registration, as we get on by filling the application for PAN, we get a PAN number which is of 10 digits. For application for TAN, we get a TAN number which is also for 10 digits. But for GSTN number, it's a GST registration number. It is a 15 digit unique number. Okay. Now the first two digits give you the state code. So Maharashtra, Gujarat. So the state code will come here. The next 10 digits will give you the PAN number. So what is the PAN number link? So state code, PAN number, then gives you the entity code. Entity code, it tells how many companies have been registered with having the same PAN. So just remember the entity code will be they will give you, whether it's an individual or it's a partnership firm or it's a sole proprietor, the entity status and character they will give you. And this, I think it's Z, it's a just a checksum number given. Okay, random number they give you. So here, so the 14 number is Z by default, etc. So this is it. Compulsory registration, who require, again compulsory is at least you can put the section number 24. So those e-commerce operators, non-resident taxable person, casual taxable person, interstate supplies, those who are falling under reverse charge, it's there. Okay, person not liable to register, obviously those who are selling wholly exempt goods. Okay, those who are agriculturists, etc., do not need to register under for apply under GST. Now procedure for registration, very very important. How do you do? So I have myself have done GST registration. You go to the GST portal and do the registration. It's a very very simple process. Now listen to me how it is done. Firstly, I go to the GST portal. So I go to www.gst.gov.in. On that, I will go for registration. I'll click like how you go on your ICSI tab and select study material, supplement, etc. Same way, we will go in this portal and we'll go for registration. Now, fresh registration or new registration. Moment you go there, then there it's divided in part A. In part A is your GST 01. Okay, on the GST portal. So remember, REG1. Now, moment you put that, you have to put your company or individual's PAN number, and you on that PAN number जिसका भी नाम है उस मोबाइल नंबर पे एक OTP आएगा. So there will be a PAN number will be there and a OTP will be sent, one time password. You enter into the password and then it will take you to the next part. Okay. So then after successfully putting in the PAN then the part B comes. Now part B is very very simple. Common sense cannot be kept at home. You cannot keep your brains at home. Listen, अगर मैं GST registration कर रहा हूँ, government what all information they will ask me? They will say the type of what kind of business it is, sole proprietor, partnership, LLP, company, what it is. Second, they will ask whoever it is, their constitutional status, their constitution. Constitution मतलब क्या? Not that constitution. Your constitution मतलब who are the directors, who are the partners, who are the key people, who are the authorized person, those details. Okay. So this will be there. The applicant shall, while submitting the application fee, undergo through an authentication of the Aadhaar based. Now, this you can give additional information. Then directly from here, we will go to the one which you need to remember is the registration certificate. So your registration certificate will be issued in 06. तो एक 1 याद रखना, 6 याद रखना, बस बहुत हो गया इतना. Okay, 1 and 6 we will remember. Okay, now they are talking about composition scheme. Now composition scheme, can you all tell me which section it is? Very very good, section number 10 of the CGST Act. In that also they've given you the turnover limit. So just we are taking a recap just because it is there. We should know ICSI can really ask and you will be blank. That shouldn't happen. So what happens? Turnover eligibility, that 75 crores and 75 lakhs and 1 CR. Okay, I think they've given it wrong here. Fully wrong they've given you. So it is 1.5 CR. Okay, and If for northeastern state it is 75 lakhs. They fall under the composition scheme. Now directly we go to the next part. Till here we can pull off in case if they ask. Now we go to the Shop and Establishment Act. Now in this, every single establishment, they are not only shop. So when I go to buy clothes, it's a shop. Wherever goods and service are being sold, is a shop. I go to the salon, it is a shop. Even establishment has to compulsorily take a Shops and Establishment Act. See, and it is every state has its own Shops and Establishment Act. So we can have Karnataka Shop and Establishment Act, we can have a Maharashtra Shop and Establishment Act. This is a central law and states have been given to make the internal procedure. Andar ka procedure states will make. So let's see. It is enacted by every state. Shops and Establishment Act will be made, internal details will be made by the each state. Now we say it is applicable on all commercial establishments. Only business point of view, any office, any warehouse, any store, any hotels, any eatery, amusement park, theaters. So if you go to a cinema hall, they must be having a Shop and Establishment Act. Classes, if you go now in physical, you will see a Shop and Establishment license. Okay, everything is coming wherever goods and services are being given. Now why it is being made? Okay, yeah. So why it is being made? To regulate the payment of wages, hours or work. Means उस shop or establishment में whoever are working, if they are removed, the conditions of work etc. are covered in this act. Now purpose of the Shops and Establishment Act, obviously the government wants to know what all businesses are set up in India. So then they tell that please inform the respective state of what business you are starting within 30 days of starting the business. Then who all are employed in your business and the terms and conditions are covered. Now again, very important, they can ask you, it looks a pretty something which can be asked. What do you mean by shop? Where goods are sold, services are sold, including warehouse, store down, go down, warehouse, workplace, any other thing which is connected with a commercial establishment. Next, commercial establishment means what? Commercial means business, trade, business, profession. Okay, but it also includes a society, charitable trust, a journalist, printing establishment, contractors, auditors establishment, educational institutions. So वो भी आ गए commercial establishment में, classes etc. Okay, hotels, clubs, theaters, amusement parks etc. Okay, so they can ask you definition of shop, they can ask you definition of commercial establishment. Next, coming to the license to be taken by them. License under the Shop and Establishment Act. So we make an application to whom? So we make an application to the chief inspector of shops and establishment. I tell him I am the employer, this is my place, this is the name, this is the category in which you are there, these many employees I have, and any other information that you want you can ask. Next, on submission of this, the application will be reviewed and then he will give me the certificate. On moment I will get a certificate, we will have a party. Okay, now coming to the next thing, registration of Shops and Establishment Act. So you are compulsorily required to get the same registered if you are the owner of a shops and establishment. Submit an application within 30 days of starting the work along with the fees, along with the details we saw. The inspector will verify the correctness of this application. He will inspect, वो check करेगा बराबर है या नहीं. Okay, once the registration certificate is issued, it will prominently be displayed at the establishment. Any shop, any restaurant you go, you see they have that shops and establishment there, because it is a rule that they have to display that license in a prominent place. Prominent means visible place. Okay, many states have nowadays gone 100% online process, but some states are still following offline process also. Then we come to the micro, small and medium enterprises. So it is micro, small and medium enterprises. So let's see what they have given here. Very important. as a professional, I have got in questions from clients regarding MSMEs also. Okay, क्या होता है, etc. There is a concept of deferred payment, protection against deferred payment or non-payment. So what happens is these micro, small and medium enterprises, these are these chotu businesses which the government feels they are the backbone, because there are many small business, they become the backbone of the economy. So what government says that we will protect them. If anyone tries to bully them, harass them, not pay them the money, we will handle. So they will have to first, the registration is optional. Once you are registered here, then you get a lot of benefits. So government has classified what is micro, small and medium. Accordingly they grant certain benefits such as इनके पास से इतना तो खरीदने का है, इनको लोन देने का, क्रेडिट देने का, इनको प्रोटेक्ट करने का, and welfare activities which we will see. Now I told you whatever we are doing, we are seeing which ministry is governing it. So we will write the MSME ministry comes here. Okay, and the business is micro, small, one word is Udyam. Udyam in English means a business. So that's why they call a business registration, Udyam registration, referred to as Udyam. Now coming to the new definition. Now the new definition is important. What is the classification of enterprise, micro, small and medium? Now being an amendment, it is very much possible that they ask in the exam MSME. So what is it? They have said that for plant and machinery and turnover, plant and they are divided. If you have investment in plant and machinery up to this limit, you are micro, 0 to 1 crore. Okay? Up to 1 crore, you are a micro. Then comes 1 crore to 10 crores, then you're medium, small. And if you're above 10 crores, above 10 crores up to 50 crores, then you are medium. So remember this. For turnover, again the similar limit is 0 to 5 crores is micro, 5 to 50 is small, and 50 to 250 is turnover is medium. So remember the limits. Definitely it can come in your exam. Now eligibility for to apply for Udyog Aadhaar. Now someone will ask, what is Udyog? Udyog English meaning is business. So business registration, business Aadhaar. Okay. Now another thing you must have seen, MS. So even I have done MSME registration also. Now it's very simple, and I don't feel they take any money also. It is almost you submit your Aadhaar card, and on basis of your Aadhaar card and self declaration, they take and it is registered. So you only have to say how much investment in plant and machinery you have, how much is your turnover, how much is your employee, what is the place of business, etc. You go to this Udyog Aadhaar site and you can do the registration, and on that you will get a certificate. This certificate is there just like you get a PAN card and it is there lifetime unless it is suspended. Same way this is also there. So let's read. MSME registration or Udyog Aadhaar can be obtained by any type of business entity. So can a public company apply? Answer is any type. So proprietor, HUF, partnership firm, one person, limited liability, private company, and even a limited company, producer company, any association of persons, cooperative. So everyone can be registered under MSME. छोटे हो, लिमिट के अंदर हो तो आ जाओ. If you're within the limit, come. Now obtaining the MSME registration is not mandatory. So is it required to get registered under the MSME? Answer is no. But government has made certain beneficial aspects for those who get registered. So then they will get registered. Okay. So people prefer to get registered under the MSME because they get lot of protection from the government. So to claim the advantages, registration is advisable. Now Udyam registration procedure. Now how do I register? Very simple. I'll go to the registration form. I'll go to the site and register. Now which is this site? Let's see. Any person who wants to establish a micro, small and medium enterprise, okay, may file a Udyam registration online in the Udyam registration portal. So I had also made a entity specifically to train people, professionals. Okay, so you all are students. One is the classes. The other one is to train professionals on GST, on stock market, on all of that. So that is how I had thought. I had made a entity also called as Talent Catalyst, where I will train people to do all these things and have those how you have TED talks, etc. So we will train them on stock market, etc. And I had got this certificate also from the MSME sector. I had gone, I had only done the registration, everything. Now after that COVID came, so I couldn't implement. But soon now with this online portal, I will be launching those particular courses as well for skill development courses according to me. So I had done this thing and it was so simple. The theory in the module is difficult, but in practical life when you go, this is very simple. Okay, now let's go. And it is everything on self declaration. You don't require any professional signature. Self declaration. I agree. All the statement above is correct to the best of my knowledge. No requirement to upload documents. Aadhaar based. That's why they call it as Aadhaar based. So Aadhaar card doge na, तो Aadhaar base पे registration होता है. On registration, the enterprise will get a Udyam registration number. So we will get a Udyam registration number. Udyam registration certificate will be issued on completion of that process. So even I have got this for my entity. Now composite criteria. Composite criteria means what? English word है composite. And my English is not strong. मेरी इंग्लिश इतनी स्ट्रांग नहीं है. कॉम्पोजिट का मतलब क्या होता है? प्लीज हेल्प मी विद पुटिंग इन द चैट बॉक्स. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय कॉम्पोजिट? कंबाइंड. So if I have multiple units in multiple states, so to calculate the limit of MSME, club करूँ के नहीं? For example, in GST, how many ever states में हूँ उतने मेरे को registrations करने पड़ेंगे. So let's say if I am there in 4 states, Maharashtra, Goa, Andhra Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. 4 states, so I'll have 4 GSTN numbers. Now the question is, while calculating the turnover, should I add the limits of everything? Yes or no? So that's what they're saying. Arey bhai, obviously add karo na. How in every state if I have and I combine the turnover and the assets of all of my units, because they will all have one PAN but multiple GSTN number. PAN to ek hi hoga. HUL will have one PAN and multiple registration. So all units having GSTN numbers against the same PAN shall be collectively treated as one enterprise. So Hindustan Unilever can be present in 4 locations. So we will club the turnover of all to know whether they are MSME or no, and under what head you are. Okay, club the turnover and the total limits for such an entity and shall be seen together. Okay, and then we will decide the criteria of micro, small and medium enterprise. Clear till here? Composite, cool. So composite. So remember MSME, we will write a point called as composite and then we will say that it is to be club. Now calculation for investment in plant and machinery. This looks so difficult, My calculation for investment in plant and machinery. Very simple. I will tell na how much. It's a self-declaration form. I will only tell how much investment I have done in plant and machinery turnover. So this will be reflected in my income tax return also. Should it happen that I am saying here I am small, micro enterprise, and in income tax return it is very high income. So link करेंगे हम लोग कि the calculation, whatever I am telling them that this will be linked to the income tax return. Next, the plant and machinery. What do you mean by plant and machinery? So then it is given as per the 1961 Act and 1962 Income Tax Act. Okay. Purchase invoice. I must have purchased plant and machinery. This could be first hand or second hand. Chalega. So this purchase could be whether it's a first hand or second hand, doesn't matter. It will be counted. Next is turnover also. Turnover is to be taken. Turnover means sale. Whether it be a domestic sale or export sale, all will be counted. Okay, export sale will be counted and it shall be linked to the again this will also be linked to the income tax return whatever you give. Now registration process. Sir had told registration process for MSME is important, can come in your exam. So what was the process? You go to the portal, After I go to the portal, do I have to pay any money? No filing fees for Udyog registration. Even you can go and register. Aadhaar card is needed. Only it's a Aadhaar based registration. That's why it's called as Udyog Aadhaar. ठीक है. अब या तो if you are a proprietor, you will give details of your proprietor, such as who is the owner, his photo, his PAN card, etc. If it is a LLP, then you will give the LLP agreement. If it is a company, you will give the MOA, AOA, the constituting documents. No enterprise shall file more than one Udyog registration for the same unit. ठीक है, it is on self declared basis, but if you find that you are misrepresenting to just claim the benefit of MSME, then we have penalty also for you. Now moving ahead to the next part, this also I feel that the just important, so that Udyog certificate will look something like your COVID certificate. So really strange, but what do I mean by a, have you got a COVID vaccine certificate? Yes. So it has a QR code on it now. So same way, Aadhaar card, that Udyog Aadhaar will also have a QR code which will help you know whether it's a genuine certificate or someone has done Photoshop. A permanent registration will be given after registration. Okay. Next, after the completion of the process, a certificate will be issued online. A QR code will be there from which the web page of the portal details of the enterprise can be assessed. There will be no need for renewal of the registration. तो एक बार मैंने ले लिया, मैं जब भी चाहूँ बिजनेस चालू कर दूंगा. And I will tell you all also what course is there. Okay, from that talent catalyst which I thought I will do. Now no enterprise shall have file more than one Udyog registration. तो इसमें renewal की जरूरत भी नहीं है, तो पड़ा है, यूज कर लूंगा कभी फ्यूचर में. Then again they are telling you, you can, what is the benefit? So what is the benefit? And we like benefits, right? What is the benefit of being a MSME? Very supremely important. According to me, MSME will come in every single attempt. It is that important as a professional, I am telling you. Okay, MSME, they get easy, because imagine in India how many MSMEs are there. एक तो limit भी बढ़ा दिया उन्होंने. So since they have increased the threshold limits for turnover and plant and machinery, more companies have become MSME. So all the more we should know the provision well. They get easy finance. They will go and they will say, we are MSME, give us loan. So law has said give them better. Government also give them preference in government tender. So when government wants to buy, they will buy from MSME. Reservation policies are there. So as we have reservation quota for MSME, also there is a reservation quota. So being a MSME, I can tap that quota. Time bound resolution of dispute with the buyer. So if I am MSME is a seller. Now this is what I was telling. When the MSME is the seller and there is a buyer. Okay, the buyer is there. If the MSME has given goods and in return the buyer has given dhoka. When I say dhoka means he has given what do you call that? He has given another word for dhoka in English. I can call it as a default. He has done a default. In such case, MSMEs are these small people. They might just break down. So what government has done, they had said, how dare you default with this person? How dare you do a delayed payment to a MSME? We are protecting them. So the government has made a council. First they will say try to solve it by arbitration and conciliation. If not, the MSME will come to the government and the government will then give the order. And generally this order is very stringent, and since it is made for the benefit of MSME, it goes in the favor of MSME only. So buyers today are very scared of buying from MSME, because MSME are protected under the act. That is what is a practice going on now. The buyer, see, you get a time bound resolution of dispute. The buyer should ensure payment before the end of the credit period, else interest would be payable. और इंटरेस्ट चालू हो जाता है उनका. आई थिंक इट इज कंपाउंडेड इंटरेस्ट. compound interest चालू हो जाता है. You cannot default to a MSME. So buyers today are very scared to buy from MSME because of the protection that they enjoy. In case of a dispute भी हो जाएगा ना. Now pay attention to this new thing. Dispute भी हो जाएगा. So this was one opinion we had given. Dispute was there. Buyer did not pay to the MSME. So MSME said अभी हम जाएंगे कोर्ट. इनके लिए खास कोड बनी है, माइक्रो स्मॉल एंटरप्राइज फैसिलिटेशन सेंटर. So I will go to this center and I will say he is not paying. This would trigger the conciliation and arbitration process. The buyer should find the best way to resolve. Buyer needs to ensure that he does not owe any outstanding amount, including the interest due to the MSME, for more than 45 days. मतलब 45 days का max credit period है. Now I can't go into tell how much detail. I can tell you MSME continuously. In MSME, if this is the case, MSME is the seller. In the agreement also, if it is said that the credit period is 120 days credit period, it says that this will not be there. The act will prevail and the act says that the maximum credit period is 45 days. मतलब 45 days में आपको पेमेंट करना ही है. आपके साथ whatever you must have discussed, you have to pay. Clear it now? So 45 days is there. Within 45 days you have to pay the MSME, otherwise you have to pay with compound interest. So this is good to be. If I am a MSME, I would to love this thing, okay, because government is protecting me. Now coming to this NSIC registration. Now what is the full form of NSIC? Let's see. It's the NSIC enlist MSME under a single point registration system. So in one go they can be registered in one place. They can get all the registrations. And the main reason to get registered on the NSIC is to get the benefits under the public procurement policy of this. This is again important, which they can ask you. Public procurement policy. 20 mark chapter public procurement policy. क्या है कि भाई इनके पास से बाय करने का, public government will buy from MSME. So these are the benefits given. It is important. It can come in your exam. Okay, it can come in your exam. What is the benefits with respect to procurement or NSIC registration? They will say once you are registered with them, then now understand. I am a MSME. I got registered under the NSIC. Then doing all those things. Now what will happen? I say now I am registered. What will happen? So whenever the government is a buyer, government also keeps purchasing equipments, goods. They keep taking services. So what they have said that is here. Every central ministry, department, PSU shall ensure an annual goal of minimum 25% of total purchases by MSME. Means every government should ensure that they buy minimum purchase, annual purchases will be bought from MSME. So I know that governments are bound to buy their, from whatever purchases they do, 25% will go from this, will be purchased from MSME. Now further, what all points are given? Now normally when government wants to buy something, they ask for tenders. They say aap tender do, how much you are ready to we want to buy, let's say, furniture for parliament. Now we know our central vista project is being made. We are going to have all the best class projects there. So we are saying ki we want certain parliament chairs. We want some chairs, fans, ACs. So tender will be issued. Now for tender, whenever people are applying, they have to pay some money. But for MSME, it will be free of cost. So they can apply free of cost. They will be exempted from giving any deposit, earnest money deposit. So normally, if anyone else, non-MSMEs applying in this, they have to give a money deposit also. Earnest means advance deposit they have to put. MSME don't have to give. Then we have made a facility for tender marketing for them also. We have said that MSME के लिए भी marketing will be done individually. We want to buy these goods from MSME. 358 items are reserved for exclusive purchase from MSME. So 358 items will be exclusive, इनके पास से ही buy करना है 358 items. तो उनका भी अलग से टेंडर मार्केटिंग होगा, खाली उनके लिए ही पिच होगा कि भाई एमएसएमई के पास ही बाय करना है. और एक दूसरा पॉइंट है जो थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल है, आई विल डू I'm not going in detail, but this third point let me explain. If in one go you understand, it's well and good, okay? Otherwise we can learn it. So pay attention. In a tender, participating MSME is participating, quoting a price of L1 plus 15%. L1 means L1 is where L1 is a non-MSME. तो सोचो तुम MSME हो, you are a MSME, there is a non-MSME. He is quoting 100, that he is saying that he will do the work for 100. He is ready to sell for 100. You have given 100 plus 15%, means you have given a range of 15%. So your total pricing is 115. So L1 is 100 and you have applied for L1 plus 15% max. So you are saying you are ready to give for 115. So I'll say आ जाइए, आप आ जाइए, चलो आपके लिए भी हमने reservation किया, from you also will buy, but only at L1 price. So 115 हटा दो. So those MSME dealers who have quoted up to L1 plus 15%, they will be eligible, and we will say we will buy from you also, but at L1 price only, and L1 price only, but not everything. We will purchase how much? A certain amount they have given. That L1 plus 15% shall also be allowed to supply a portion up to 25% of the requirement by bringing down their price to L1. So MSME will also be allowed to participate, that MSME will be allowed to participate up to 25% of the total purchases. 25% will buy from you. There is another MSME which has bidded L1 plus 20%. We will tell them get lost. You are not applicable. You will not be eligible. I hope this part was clear. Then further they have made reservation, okay, for out of annual 25% जो procure करना था, minimum 25% what we have to buy from MSME. 4% has been marked for SC/ST and 3% is marked for women entrepreneurs. So minimum whatever government has to purchase is 25%. Out of this 25%, 4% is for SC/ST and 3% is for women entrepreneurs. Clear till here? This is given. So this much we write, and I believe this is only going to come. This part will exactly with that is going to come. Then comes, I don't believe this is needed, fresh registration. Okay. Then directly coming to ESI. So we are done with MSME also, something which I believe will come in your exam. Then comes ESI registration with the procedural benefits. Now ESI is also there in labor law chapter. So I will also quickly go into the ESI part. So whenever they ask about an act, anything, we will start labor law, we will start with certain things. We will write the introduction. The ESI Act provides for SIM, sickness, injury and maternity for the benefit of the workman and his family. मतलब workman की भी benefit और उसके family के लिए भी benefit है. Now who can come in this? Who all will come? So for all employees who are earning 21,000 per month as wages, so this insurance is done कि भाई इंजरी हो गई, SIM सिकनेस हो गया, मैटरनिटी हो गया, तो हम आपको certain benefits देंगे. We will give you certain insurance is removed for you. Now only for employees who are coming up till 21,000. For certain those who are under a disablement, the same thing will be 25,000. So ESI Act up to 21,000 normally, but 25,000 the limit is 25,000 for those persons who have a disability. So if I am an employee and or a workman and I am having 40,000 salary, I am not here, not under ESI. So only up to 21,000 normal and 25,000 for disabled or who are under a disability. Now how much percentage will be contributed? Insurance is being removed now. So insurance premium निकालने का पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? So both will have to contribute. In how much they have to contribute? They have given in the end the employee contribution. Now it was earlier a different percentage. Now I'm giving you the updated one. So if in your module etc. is old, please change it. This is the revised percentage. Okay, so just take a screenshot or write it down. What is it? Quickly. Yeah. So take a screenshot of this. How much it is? 3.25% employer will remove of the wages from his pocket towards insurance, and employee's salary also we will deduct 0.75%. So if you add all this, you will get 4% of wages is going for insurance purpose, which at the time of sickness, SIM, sickness, injury, maternity, we will give him relief. Okay, next. Now coming about registration. So again, any labor law provision comes, we will write it comes under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, and we will write it's a social welfare security legislation. So some lines we will write like that to get more marks. Any labor law related, which in the past exam question they have asked. So their start has to be very, very strong. You have to sound smart. Okay. Then it is managed by the ESI and it's for the benefit of employee and it is under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, Government of India. Now, going that when is this act applicable? Act is applicable whenever there is 10 or more persons. Okay, whenever 10 or more persons, and in case of government businesses where government is there, central government is the employer, when 20 or more persons are there. So engaged in the business of insurance business or NBFC or port trust airport. So in these cases, the act will be applicable when there are 20 or more, and in these cases, all these cases, it will be 10 or more. I don't believe this will ask this kind of thing, applicability will be asked, but we should remember 10 and 20. And in case if you don't remember the industry and they have asked, you will write 10 or more employees or workmen for the industries prescribed under the schedule, and 20 or more persons for the industries prescribed in the schedule by the appropriate government. Okay. Next is how do you go and register under ESI? Now ESI mein obviously employee has no knowledge, so it all starts with the employer. Employer will go on this site esic.in site. He will sign up. He will put his company name, his employer details. He will get a new employer registration, and obviously it will be in form 1, okay, of all the details, and he will receive a certificate in C11, okay, C11 and in form 1, remember that. Then online registration for employers. So everything has become fully online. There is no manual intervention to do this. You get a registration certificate in C11. Okay, and all in this is also when I've given green means you can fill it in almost any question that comes in. The mandatory field in the online registration form are marked with asterisk, are mandatorily to be filled in a form. When we see this asterisk, so we can write now in this form, if the asterisk is there, it has to be mandatorily filled. So almost in all, whenever green means it can be filled anywhere. Going next, registration of an employee. Now obviously employer has done the registration for the company. Now when there is a new employee, I have joined the company, so my details should also reflect. I should also get a card. So on joining the organization, an employee is required to fill a declaration form, form 1, okay, with a copy of the photo which the employer will be submitting at the ESI branch. So he has to give the copy of the family photo which the employer will be submitting with 3 months a permanent photo ID. A photo ID will be given to him and along with his number for identification for the purpose of this scheme. So wage limit under ESI, I told you 21,000, 25,000 for a person with disability and employee contribution. So remember ESI Act, so very very important, SIM. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Act, that is the name of the scheme. Okay. Registration process. So again, if I go here, your provident fund, so it is there in your labor law chapter also. Now again, same points will be there, that it has 3 schemes, 3 scheme hai in this. So it's a miscellaneous scheme, so it has provident fund scheme, pension scheme and insurance scheme. Anything will come, we will write it's a social security legislation coming under the Ministry of Employment, Labor and Employment. Okay. Now registration is mandatory, okay, for a factory having engaged in any industry having 20 or more persons, and even if the establishment then later gets with 20, if it is less than 20, then they can do voluntary registration. And employer must obtain, now again within 1 month he has to get registration under this is needed. Okay, now coming to this part, the online registration licensing facility on the, now this is the name of a portal, Shram or Shram Suvidha portal is developed to facilitate the registration part. So Shram Suvidha portal, Shram Suvidha portal, this is a official portal of the Ministry of Labor and Employment, Government of India, with the objective of making a single window for registration and license. Now, however, this is very very the name is very difficult. So what I see, what they did is they stopped this portal altogether. So now this Shram portal has been stopped, and in return everything is done through the Ministry of Corporate Affairs Agile and Spice portal. Again, Provident Fund scheme by a company will now be done by the Spice Plus Agile form. Clear till here? And that Shram portal has now been discontinued. Moving ahead to the FCRA registration. FCRA registration. Now FCRA also is an act which governs foreign contribution, foreign hospitality. The government allows foreign contribution, foreign hospitality in certain cases after approval, and in some they prohibit. One second, what is all this? Simply understand, donation, this is all about donation. Whenever donation is coming from abroad, donation is coming from a foreign source, okay, donation is coming from a foreign source, there is a donation from a foreign source, foreign entity, okay, then this donation could be in the form of foreign contribution or foreign hospitality. Foreign contribution means you've given some donated goods, or hospitality means you've donated some kind of a service, you paid for someone's medical education or travel expenses, that. Okay, so this is there. Whenever this is done, foreign source is donating foreign contribution or foreign hospitality, then the government of India says that this act will either regulate, so we will regulate and prohibit in certain cases foreign contribution and foreign hospitality. Normally we will regulate it, We will regulate. पैसा आ रहा है आने दो. Regulate it. Now, how will you regulate? We will tell all the NGOs, foreign entities will be funding in all these NGOs, right? NGO में देंगे पैसा, तो वो NGO को बोलेंगे कि भाई एक सर्टिफिकेट ले लो, एक सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन कर लो under the FCRA Act. So we have certain institutions which are very very clear, religious institutions, social institutions, your animal welfare, PETA. So PETA is a clear institution, their funding can come. So we will say take a certificate under the FCRA Act, you're done. And for prohibition, section numbers 3 and 6, they prohibit foreign donation cannot be given to judges, to your election officers, your public servants, judges, so the candidates, the columnists, editors. So they've given you a full list. Keep all these people, don't give donation to them. It can affect the image of India, sovereignty and integrity of India. If you start donating to the judges of India and all those parliament people, so that you don't donate to them. All those other cases we will regulate. Clear till here? Let's see. And this act is made by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Always know which ministry is coming. So Ministry of Home Affairs is regulating it because Home Affairs is concerned with India's internal security. So the acceptance and utilization of foreign contribution and foreign hospitality by certain individuals is prohibited in some, and because it could be detrimental to the national interest. Now section 8 companies, charitable trust societies can receive foreign contribution, foreign hospitalities only after they have received registration. Now eligibility for obtaining registration, very very simple. First, organization. Now we are talking of being human, or cry or PETA, whatever. So they are getting funding. So organization like them who want to get foreign donations and having a definite cultural, social, economic, education or religious program may obtain. Okay. The association should नई incorporated section 8 company, can they take donation from abroad? Newly incorporated, can they take donation from abroad? Answer is no. What they are saying, कम से कम 3 साल का तो existence होना चाहिए. So then take foreign funding. Directly you started operation and foreign funding. So the association should be registered as a company, society, trust. पहले registration ले लो India में. Then you should have been in existence for at least 3 years and doing some reasonable activity for the benefit of society. Then only you can take foreign funding. I told you it comes under which ministry? Ministry of Home Affairs. Central government, it's a central legislation. Next, eligibility criteria for grant of prior permission. So what is the eligibility criteria? Very very simple. Registered. You have to get a commitment letter. Now we are going to take both people. दोनों ही लोग को पकड़ेंगे. Donor भी कौन है? Who is the donor and who is the donee? Who is the one giving you funding and who is the one receiving funding? Both we will call and ask them for information. So an organization in the formative stages is not eligible. नई company बनी है donation, they are not eligible for registration under FCRA. Should be registered as in one of these statutes. You have to submit a commitment letter from the donor indicating the amount he is going to give. So donor will give commitment that I will keep giving 2 lakh rupees every month for the welfare of XYZ thing, upliftment of women, XYZ religion, etc. FCRA prior permission shall be granted subject to following of these conditions. Now again, as a professional, we got questions on this also. Very very important. Nowadays, you might see that multiple NGOs are there and receive foreign funding. Sometimes there is also little bit illegal activities that go on in these NGOs. So we have to ensure that it doesn't happen. If foreign funding is not from some wrong thing. So to ensure that we have these conditions, the chief functionary of the recipient Indian organization should not be part of the donor organization. So donor and donee cannot be same, because that means you are doing money laundering. Then वहाँ का पैसा you are getting it in India and you are, so I am only donating here and getting all the benefits. No, not allowed. At least 75% of the office bearers should not be members of the foreign donor organization. ठीक है, 75% of this of the Indian recipient organization, मतलब यहाँ की जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के ऑफिस बेरर्स है वो लोग उस फॉरेन डोनर एंटिटी में भी कनेक्टेड है, तो देन वी विल नॉट ग्रांट द सर्टिफिकेट. The foreign donor being a single person should not be a chief functionary of the Indian organization. And lastly, if there is a single donor, at least 75%, okay, should not be his family members or close relatives. Again, what are we trying to do? We are saying बाहर से जो पैसा आ रहा है, it should be for a genuine purpose. I cannot take donation for the benefit of my family, my relatives. I have earned abroad, I don't know how. Normally through Hawala, I must have put it abroad. I set up an organization and I bring it back. This is called as round tipping. So government is aware, they have this money laundering laws. Moving ahead, criteria for grant of FCRA registration. Following criteria should be there. I feel it can come in the exam. It is important, very very good question about FCRA. When it will not be granted? If you are a fictitious person, you have been prosecuted, convicted for any of the activities, okay, for conversion of one religious faith to another, you are doing conversion of person from one religion to another. Such kind of controversial activities, we don't want funding coming for that. Has not been prosecuted for creating any communal tension. Has not been found guilty for misusing of funds in the past. Is not planning to do any sedition. Means with the money they want to go against the government. So that's sedition. Is not likely to use a foreign contribution for personal gains or divert it for undesirable purpose. I take the money and I'm using it for some illegal purpose. If we find, then we will not give. Not contravened any of the provisions, not prohibited from accepted contribution, so they shouldn't be prohibited. And the person being an individual, such has not been convicted under any law in force against him. So in all these cases, the person will be ineligible. Clear till here? To receive this. Then the portal for it is fcraonline.inc.in. Then comes any association wishing to receive foreign funding must have a definite culture. So these are the common points that they are repeating, okay? And one more point is it should not, whenever they are giving the license, it should not affect the sovereignty, integrity of India, the economic interest of India, public interest, should not affect the elections, should not affect the friendly relation with any state, and should not create disharmony among religions. So whenever this is being given, the acceptance of foreign contribution shall not lead to incitement of offences, endanger life. And one important line is, whatever if the FCRA, that if I get the license, okay, if I am the NGO and I get the license, so in such case I will have to open a separate account which will be with SBI, and it will be written that it is FCRA account. Okay, so I believe this much is enough to pull off an answer. Then again, few more points if you want. Shall not receive any money without the permission of central government. Then all the association receive have to adhere to the PAMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and internationally it's Financial Action Task Force. There should be no concealment of information. Okay, all this information has to be given. Following document should be given to get the registration, and that is it. We are done with the particular topic. Now coming with respect to Pollution Control Board. Now pollution control, pay attention. In India, we have various acts to prevent pollution control or to prevent pollution. One is the first law. You have a subject chapter also of environmental pollution. The first law is your Water Act. Then came the Air Act. Then came the Environmental Protection Act. Then came the Public Liability Insurance Act. Then came your National Green Tribunal Act. So these are all your main pollution control. Now remember one thing. Whenever these two are there, Water Act and Air Act, their the object of the act is to prevent, Hamesha, even in this you can write in the chapter, to prevent and abet dash pollution. The object of the act is to prevent and abet means again prevent only, prevent air pollution, water pollution. And second is the creation of state boards. The duty of these state boards is to conduct investigation, to grant license, to revoke license, to do take samples, etc. Okay, so now you see there are state pollution control boards. Okay, so that's how they start pollution control, and then they come with pollution control board. Government says that you might require two things: consent to operate. There are two lines. Okay, consent to operate and consent to establish. So certain kind of businesses, when you want to start, you have to first take clearance from the environmental department. Then you can do. This was just the background. Now what can come in the exam? They can ask, one is red category, that the Ministry of Environment has divided the on basis of the pollution control index different categories. One is red category. Red category is extremely highest pollution, how do you frame it as? Highest pollution index is there. Industries such as hotels, super specialty hospitals, etc. So they come under the red category. So on basis of the pollution that they do, that they emit, or they pollution that has been done to the environment, they get certain categories. The orange category is for mid-sized organizations which does relatively lesser. They have high pollutant levels but lesser than the red category. The green category is low pollution index. They have a low pollution index. And white category is very, very important, where there is no pollution practically possible. For example, a software company, or let's say when I have certain your solar panels. Now it is possible that they are not doing any kind of pollution. Okay, so we have red is the worst, orange is the center, green is low, white category is zero. So when you are in the zero category, you don't require approval of the pollution control boards to start the business. If I'm in a white, if I'm starting my classes, I'm not doing any pollution, right? It's covered under those things. So same way, if I have a business of manufacturing handbags, etc., so it might just come in the white category. I don't require any approval. So here they've given you all these categories are covered under the consent management for obtaining two things: consent to establish and consent to operate should be taken. So for all the categories, you require consent to establish and consent to operate. However, industries falling within the white category are exempted from obtaining consent under the water pollution and air pollution boards. So you have the state pollution control boards, and you have to take the approval within 30 days if you are there. Now again, white category industries, so they can ask you what is white category, what is orange, what is red, explain. So 2 to 3 marks they will nicely ask you. Now let's see. White category, however, have to satisfy these conditions, eligible for this, okay, exemption. Okay, so in white category कब होगा जब छोटे level की industry है. So you are setting up in a certain locality which is far, where it is not populous. So if you are setting up under so who can come under the white category? They don't have to take exemption. They don't have to take approvals. So locality, If the investment in plant and machinery is up to 1 crore, they do not discharge any trade effluent directly into the well, stream, water, etc. And they do not discharge any hazardous or toxic waste. Okay. So if they are doing, if they are all this, you will get under the white category, and white category they do not require approval. This I believe can come. 20 marks can come from this chapter. Okay, that's an average weightage. So procedure for obtaining the NOC: give an application for establishment for operating. The reply will come within 4 months. They will do a checking, due diligence will be done, and a certificate is issued to the business. After the NOC is been accepted, if the application of NOC is accepted, then a certificate for will be given. Now coming to the next one, IEC code. This is a past exam question. Now IEC code, who issues the IEC code? Can you please put? IEC code is issued by the DGFT, Director General of Foreign Trade. Okay. So it is again a 10-digit number. 10-digit number. You get it for lifetime. Whenever you do a import or export, you have to quote your IEC code. It's a import exporter code. Now application for IEC code, you have to go to the DGFT portal. Okay, make an application. In that you give your PAN number, and now very simple. Since you will notice, whenever you go to for any registration, they will ask you proof of establishment or incorporation, right? Give me your proof of establishment. So I'll give my certificate of incorporation, etc. Proof of address, your place of business we will give, and lastly the proof of your bank account. So you will take a cancelled check. So all these things will be there to get this. Also you will give a photo if it's an individual. He should have an active Aadhaar card. Now drug license. Again, past exam question, very important. Okay, so drug license is about setting up a chemist. It is about pharmacy, chemist. For that we have a regulator. The regulator is your Central Drugs Control Organization and State Drugs Standard Control Organization. So your Central Drugs State Control Organization and your State Drugs Standard Control Organization. So let's understand. Very important. Okay, and just little bit business point I'll give you. If you see, setting up a chemist is really good. Setting up a pharmacy, because brand doesn't matter. We go to any chemist which is outside of your house, you prefer to go there. So if I find, मैंने ढूंढा कि ये location अच्छा है, if I get a good location, I will set up my chemist there. People come, they are not brand conscious chemist, they go to any chemist. Only benefit for chemist when the business of chemist can be very successful if I set up 10 chemists together in different locations, because then I become for all those chemists and medicines I have to put in the inventory, right? तो वो सब मैं bulk में buy करता हूँ, I get a wholesale price I get. So then I get at a lower price and I sell it. So I get those margins. Clear? So this is about the business aspect of setting up a chemist. I was with my friend, we were thinking that chemist चालू करते हैं. Chemist चालू करने के लिए 10 wholesale पे buy करनी पड़ती है. So you cannot just be successful with one chemist. You have to set up multiple pharmacies. Now coming to its licensing part. Okay, list the state drug control organization. So again, there are two kinds of licenses that can be given. One is a retail drug license, okay, and the other one is a wholesale drug license. Retail drug license, so there are two types of licenses that can be issued for operating a pharmacy. So one is a retail drug license if you want to set up a general chemist shop, and wholesale drug license, if you want to set up any agency is engaged, so you are just an intermediary. Now, in most states, a retail drug license is only issued to a person who has a degree of diploma in pharmacy. Retail मतलब तुम सीधा customer को बेच रहे हो, you are directly selling it to the customer. So in that case, a diploma is needed in pharmacy. And for those who are, but the condition is relaxed if you are taking a wholesale drug license, because I am just buying in wholesale and I further sell it to a retailer who will have a pharmacy. So for me, there is not much there is not much stringent rules. It's okay if I don't have a pharmacy license. Requirement to obtain a drug license. Now this is a past exam question. Past exam question. The area, the minimum has to be there. Minimum 10 square meters is required to start a medical shop, a pharmacy or a wholesale outlet. In the pharmacy combined with retail, a minimum of 15 square meters is needed. So in case the pharmacy combines with retail and wholesale, then a minimum of 15 square meters. So 10 से 15 meters की जगह चाहिए. Storage facility. Now there you have seen all chemists have a fridge and air condition in the premises, especially for certain drugs like vaccines, insulin injections, they have to be stored in a refrigerator. Next, if we see the technical staff, so staff has to be there for retail and wholesale. Now they are saying that sale of drugs by wholesale shall be made either in the presence of a registered pharmacist or in the presence of a competent person who shall graduate within 1 year experience in dealing in drugs. So either it should be done by a registered pharmacist or by a person who has at least 1 year of dealing in drugs, in all these medicines. Okay, 1 year of experience, but he should have completed his college, so SSLC. So he should have his secondary school leaving certificate. That's your college. Okay, and in retail, he must be in the presence of registered person. So the sale of drugs in retail category must be made in the presence of a registered pharmacist approved by the department. Now coming to the documents, very simple. If I'm giving for documents, what all is required? So application form along with the fees, a declaration, plan, key plan, site plan, all these plans are there. Affidavit, proof of constitution, affidavit of the pharmacist, affidavit of the owner, and appointment letter of the pharmacist in case if while you are employing a pharmacist, a letter. So all these are documents required to set up a drug license. Now coming to FSSAI. Now first of all, people don't know the full form of FSSAI. It's your Food Safety Standard Authority of India. Now Food Safety Authority is a autonomous body, मतलब एक supreme body है, which regulates food related issues. Food related issues where we ensure that there is safety of food and there is a wholesomeness of food articles. Food should be safe and wholesome means it should be complete, healthy. It comes, I told you, right? Always a ministry that is involved. So the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is covered. Its aim is to protect public health. FSAI is a license mandatory before starting any food business. So any food business you want to start, this license is needed. All manufacturers, traders, restaurants who involved in food business must get this 14-digit license. So ये 14-digit का नंबर है. इसमें क्या होता है, क्वालिटी चेक करते हैं खाने का. They will do the quality check. With quality checks, we will see that there is instances of reduction in instances of adulteration, mixture, substandard products, and we improve the accountability of manufacturers. For example, a classic example is of Maggi. Maggi, while manufacturing, had more amount of MSG, monosodium glutamate, which was above the standards, which were not good for children. So therefore, proper quality checks were not done by the governing body here. We've also made our regulation, which is 2011. Now, based on the nature of the business, okay, all food operators in India must have this license or registration. Now, pay attention to what I'm saying, okay? Anyone dealing with food will have this license. Now, either you get a registration or a license. Registration is for hawkers who जो बेचते on the road, who sell, they are hawkers, even they need to get a license. If you've seen outside, they are this also, they also can't just sell anything, okay, but most of the time they don't have all these licenses because it's not that much strongly governed on, they're not very harsh on them, but they have to be registered. For those who have big companies, manufacturing companies dealing in food like your Parle, okay, all of them, they have to get a license. So on basis of the size of the nature of the business, the registration, if registration is given on license, means what this is what I mean. Registration is required for petty food business who are in hawkers business whose annual turnover is less than or equal to 12 lakhs. Now imagine we are calling them a small business, petty business. 12 लाख तक होगा तो उनको खाली registration करना है. But license is more stringent. You have to take a state license and central license. State license when you're dealing in food business, greater than 4 lakhs but up to 20 crores. Large if you're above 20 crores, you're operating in two or more states, or you're an importer or exporter of food products. So you have to sit and learn. Registration is for small up to 12 lakhs. So we can make this 12 lakhs, then 20 crores, and then we have about 20 crores. Very simple. For this you will get registration. Here you will take from the state, and from here you will take from the central license. Clear till here? Now FSAAI registration. So again, all petty food operators have to do. Petty food operators who manufacture or sell any article, like your hawkers, your vendors, temporary stall dealers, distributes foods, small scale cottage whose annual turnover does not exceed 12 lakhs, as we saw. Their production capacity does not exceed 10 kilos or liters per day. Who, when they're dealing in milk, it is up to 500 milk per day, and slaughterhouse where 2 animals or 10 animals of 50 poultry birds, whichever is less. So all these will be treated as small. Okay, so we'll have to sit and learn these limits, but it's important, they can ask you. Application should be made within 7 days of receipt of the application of the authority. It will be told whether it is accepted or rejected. This certificate will contain the details of the registration, the photo of the applicant. It must be displayed at a proper place at all the places where they are dealing. So if you see all those Frankie stalls, they will have this registration. Now coming to license. License are for big players. For big players, food players like your Nestle. Now any person or entity which is not classified as a petty is considered to be a would require a license. This license for state is up to 8 to 20 crores, 12 lakhs to 20 crores you will require, and it will be considered as your medium business. But if it is central license will be needed if it is about 20 crores, okay, and you will be treated as a large food manufacturer or processor. Now the fees is to be given is, now this is logical. The fees and the procedure for license will be more extensive as compared to the registration. So this is common sense, and you have to make an application on the FOSCOS. So it's your food, okay, committee and security portal. Okay. Now the FSAI license is granted for a period of 1 to 5 years. Trademark. Now you come to your trademark registration, your copyright registration, and your they've given you application, it should be with the fees, etc. So they have not given properly in your module about this on the registration. And then comes the patent part. Patent part is more important. So let me explain how does it work. Very, very simple. So I've written a book on this also. Okay. So not going into that because it might take a little time, but I'll explain how does it work. First of all, you have the application will be given. Application for registration of patent, trademark, copyright. Once the application has been given, then it will be published. The application will be given to the registrar. Will be given to whom? To the registrar. So registrar of copyrights, registrars of trademark, registrar of patent, it will be given to them. He will first satisfy himself whether the application and the intellectual property is genuine or no. Once he is satisfied, then he will make a publication. He will make a publication and he will invite objections. He will invite objections. So people will say this is my work, etc. Whatever is there. Then after inviting the objections, he will hear both the sides. So there will be hearing and opportunity being heard to both the sides, and then the final order will be given. This order could be either allowing, accepting the application if no objections have been received, or rejecting the application if he thinks it's wrong, or lastly he can tell you to modify the application. Clear till here? So patent, you go to your IP India online.gov.in. So I've also visited this page, etc. If you want to check what all is there, what all has been published, etc. Okay, so you can read this. You will have to give it in the application form along with the supporting documents of what nature of the technology are you bringing in, etc. Now it will be published, then that patent will be examined by the officer, etc. Patent granted will be, you will get monopoly rights for 20 years. Means whatever is the patent for 20 years, you will have a complete right and nobody can use that patent. However, patent after 20 years will go into public domain and everyone can use. मतलब जो मेरा मेरा इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी है तो 20 साल तक पेटेंट यूज कर सकता हूँ एक्सक्लूसिवली. मतलब ये मैं ही यूज कर सकता हूँ, लोगों को लाइसेंस कर सकता हूँ, लोगों को सेल कर सकता हूँ, सिर्फ मैं कर सकता हूँ. बट 20 years तक, आफ्टर 20 years it will become a public property. Same as we have for copyright, trademark, patent, there is also something called as Designs Act. Designs Act nowadays, design, the visual designs make a lot of things very appealing. And so these designers prefer to get their product registered under the Designs Act. So Designs Act is there 2000 and the rules are 2001. In the Design Act, like interior designer, if he has made, he will do. Someone who is an architect, he will design. Nowadays you have these fashion designers, or anyone who is in the, we have a mobile phone design. Sometimes we have UI expert for software also. So UI is user interface. So Apple has a certain user interface which got copied by all the other copied by all the everyone else. So the user interface also gets as a design. So design is something which is appealing to the eye, which stands out. Okay, so designs, if you see, Mirinda bottle will have a separate design. Pepsi bottle, Thumbs Up bottle will all have separate designs. Cars have different designs, they all can get. So design can be registered. So you have to make a application to the registrar. Only if it is same logic. Okay, only if it is new, novel, it will be registered. It will be published for objections, etc. You will have to give this. So all intellectual property, I showed you the common procedure. Then came with RBI. Okay, Reserve Bank of India. Now RBI is your regulator. It regulates banks and it regulates financial institutions. Okay, so banks example is HDFC Bank, and financial institutions could be your NBFC, non-banking financial institution. So let's see, NBFC is a company registered under Companies Act 2013. There is a difference between bank and NBFC. Very, very simple. Banks have banking license. NBFC doesn't have a banking license. So it is there in one of the chapters also, banks in this. So banks have a banking license. They can accept deposits, can give saving accounts, can draw checks, whereas a NBFC cannot. NBFC cannot accept demand deposits. Okay. Then on demand, like your current account, NBFC cannot issue checks, and NBFC is not covered under the Deposit Insurance Credit Corporation. So normally, if I go to a bank, bank can accept demand deposits. Okay. Whenever I want, I go and I withdraw. Current account can be made. Checks, bank can issue checks, and whatever is there in the bank, and if the bank shuts down or bank may kuch wrong ho gaya, there's something wrong. So in such cases, the RBI has created a subsidiary which is your Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation, which says that if there is, so all the depositors today, all the depositors whoever, so you must be having a bank account, so तुम्हारे लिए insurance लिया गया है that they guarantee that if there is something wrong in the bank, up till 2 lakh rupees or whatever amount is guaranteed. So the insurance is allowed, is given, your money is insured up till a certain amount. All this is not in the case of NBFC. So what does a NBFC actually do? Very, very simple. If I explain what a NBFC is, and I believe all of you all must have dealt with a NBFC. So NBFC, the best example of NBFC, can anyone tell me? The biggest NBFC in India, the best NBFC in India, maybe it's very, very good to invest in this NBFC also. When you go to buy any consumer goods, कोई भी खरीदने जाते हो, तो तुम लोग कुछ लेते हो ना EMI पे, तो कौन है वहां पे ऑपोजिट साइड? NBFC है वो. नाम क्या है वो NBFC का? Bajaj Finance. So Bajaj Finance is one of a NBFC. So it is not a bank, but it will finance you. Okay. So what is a NBFC? Non-banking. So it is not a bank, but it will finance. Example is your Bajaj Finance. Now they can lend money. They can give money for buying assets. They can hire purchase. They can accept deposits as well. Now they say that the NBFC is something. NBFC is something which is primarily principal business is of lending and borrowing. Now when I say principal business is of financial activity, so they can ask you definition. अभी NBFC का logic सुनो. Now pay attention to what I'm saying. NBFC will have raised money, so they will have money, and with this money they make money by giving loans and taking money. So if you go in a typical NBFC balance sheet, you will see that over 50% of its assets are in the form of cash. Debtors, लोन दिए होंगे ना, कैश होगा NBFC के पास में लोन देने के लिए, और जिनको लोन दिया वो हमारे डेटर्स. So over 50% of its assets will be in cash and cash equivalents and debtors, and whatever cash they have, with this cash they lend money and get interest. So income, most of their income comes from this interest income. So I can say more than 50% of the gross income is coming from income from financial assets. These are your financial assets. So with cash I make cash. So this is the best example of money attracts money. Okay? So I have money, I lend money, I get interest income. So that's the principal business activity. Now financial companies exempt from NBFC license. So these are these typical companies which do not have to take NBFC license. They are regulated by some other regulator. Housing Finance Corporation, Insurance Finance, Stock Broking, Merchant Banking. venture capital, all of them, mutual funds, etc. Nidhi companies, so they don't require license. Now coming to requirement for obtaining a NBFC license, so always remember it is 200 lakhs or 2 CR. 2 CR का इनके पास में net own funds होना चाहिए. Today you decided let me start a NBFC. So भाई 2 करोड़ होना चाहिए net own funds, and you should be registered as a private or as a company, private or public company. Now calculating of net own funds as per the RBI definition. अभी 2 करोड़ का होना चाहिए ना, 200 lakhs they should have net own funds. So what all is to be included and excluded? Very simple. अगर मैं own funds देखो तो paid up equity, whatever people have paid up वो तो count होगा ही. Free reserves तो वो भी मेरा ही पैसा है तो owned ही है ना वो भी. Balance in the share premium, so obviously I have sold shares at premium. So all this is own funds ना, मेरे पास में पैसे हैं ये सब. Capital reserve वो भी पैसा मेरे पास है. Representing surplus money out of sale of assets not created by revaluation reserve. So वो revalue करके वो fake है, fictitious है, वो नहीं count कर रहा. Revaluation क्या होता है? आज today I decided my building was of 1 crore. After 1 year I say it's 1 crore 10 lakhs. That 10 lakhs is an appreciation. This is revaluation reserve, but that is not a realized gain. So वो नहीं count करे. उसके अलावा actual money we need require. We require hardcore tangible cash. तो ये हो गया. But does not include. It will not include losses. Common sense. If you want to see the money that you have in your pocket, not your losses. Not intangible assets. Intangible we believe we want only tangible cash. Hardcore cash जो तुम use कर सकते हो for business purpose. Next is last point is investment in shares of other NBFCs. Okay, in excess of 10% of the own funds of group companies. Understand? We are computing own funds कि मेरे पास कितना है अभी. तो मेरे पास में पेड अप इक्विटी कैपिटल होगा, फ्री रिजर्व्स होगा, प्रीमियम होगा, जो अभी सामान बेचा उसका पैसा होगा, और मैंने कितनी ग्रुप कंपनीज को पैसे दिए होंगे. तो हम लोग बोल रहे वो ग्रुप कंपनीज को आपने तो दे दिया ना, अभी वो आएगा नहीं आएगा वो नहीं पता, बट 10% जितना मान सकता हूँ. तो अभी मांगोगे तो वॉट एवर आई गिवन उसका 10 तो मेरे पास रिकवरी इतना तो हो ही जाएगा. सो दे आर ऑल कंसिडरिंग दैट एज ओन फंड्स. So for example, if I have given 10 crores to 1 crore to a group company, so NBFC has given 1 crore to a group company. तो पैसा चला गया ना, मेरे पास नहीं है, but I can get it back also. तो what they are saying, ठीक है चलो 10% जितना own funds मानता हूँ, in excess of 10% पता नहीं आएगा या नहीं, इसके लिए it is not allowed to be added. Next, types of NBFC license. So we can have a license which are deposit accepting NBFCs, non-deposit accepting NBFCs. One is systematically important NBFCs, non-systematically important NBFCs. So this in the NBFC chapter you can do. And the regulator for NBFC is RBI. So all the applications etc. is given to RBI. Banking. If you're setting up a bank, then you'll be regulated as per the Banking Regulation Act 1949. A bank will have to have all these things. A Banking Regulation Act, no bank shall be allowed to carry on business unless it satisfies with the following conditions. Common sense, bank hai. So then its subscribed capital is not less than half of its issued capital. Okay, subscribed capital is not the issued capital. Okay, so is the subscribed is not less than half of the authorized capital. So if authorized capital is 1 crore, then 50% of this is 50 lakhs should be minimum subscribed capital. Then paid up capital should not be half of the subscribed capital. इसका half 25 lakh तो paid up हो जाना चाहिए. Okay, then only we'll give you the license. Capital of this consists of ordinary shares only, equity shares ही होना चाहिए. No person in the banking company shall have voting rights above 10%. No person holding shares in a banking company shall have more than 10% voting rights. Every managing executive of the bank needs to disclose to the RBI the amount of shareholding it has in the firm. No company shall carry on the business of banking unless it holds a banking license. It has to apply in writing, okay, and may require to be satisfied for inspection, etc. All these things. The following conditions. So RBI may require to be satisfied by an inspection of the books the following condition, that the company will be, अभी बैंक है तो company will be in a position to repay the depositors. The affairs are not being conducted in a manner which is detrimental to the depositors. The general character of the management is not to affect the public interest. They have a proper capital structure. The license would not be prejudicial to the operations of the banking system, okay, and may require to be satisfied inspection. So RBI may require to be satisfied by an inspection of the books that the following conditions have been followed or not. Then coming to IRDA. IRDA, again, it regulates your insurance. So insurance, first you see the registration of insurance company is governed by the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority Regulations 2000. There are classes of insurance companies such as, what all kinds of insurance are there? IRDA क्या regulate करेगा types of insurance? Life insurance, general insurance, health insurance, reinsurance. ठीक है, insurance का insurance company जब अपना insurance निकालता है, that's reinsurance. Application shall make a request for application for this. An applicant will have to make a requisition for registration. तो एक registration application डालना पड़ेगा, where the requisition for registration has been rejected by the authority. So an applicant shall not be eligible to apply for to request for registration in the following cases. तो इसमें कैसे होता है, पहले तुमको रिक्वेस्ट करना पड़ता है. फर्स्ट यू विल हैव टू मेक अ रिक्विजिशन, अ रिक्वेस्ट, देन दे विल से ओके ठीक है, देन यू विल मेक द एप्लीकेशन फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन. सो फर्स्ट एक प्रायर रिक्वेस्ट होता है, प्रिलिमिनरी चेकिंग पहले होती है, देन यू गिव एंड देन द लाइसेंस इज ग्रांटेड. सो यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू गिव दिस प्रिलिमिनरी रिक्वेस्ट इफ some of the promoters have exited from the past, you have been rejected by the authority in the past 2 years, the certificate of registration has been cancelled, and the applicant does not contain words such as insurance or assurance. Okay, so only certain types they have been allowed, otherwise you can't use the word, only the name is insurance or assurance. Now first, R1, R2 and R3. R1, R2, R3. R1 is basically requisition for registration कि भाई मुझे registration चाहिए for insurance company R1. Then they will say okay fine, you have completed the preliminary check, then you will give an application in the form of R2 for grant of certificate. Now you will give a application to get the registration. पहले preliminary checking के लिए करे थे, initially आओ आप check करो, सेट हो गया ये, देन आई विल गिव फॉर एप्लीकेशन फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन, एंड देन द रजिस्ट्रेशन विल बी गिवन इन R3. सो RRR, so R1, R2, R3. okay, R1 we will give the application, documents will be given of the bank, registered office, MOA, annual report, shareholders agreement, projection for the next 5 years. Then in this you will make a request for registration for grant of certificate. Now again, every applicant, the market is important. Now every such application shall be accompanied by, okay, 100 crores or more paid up equity capital for, so 100 करोड़ अगर लाइफ इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस है तो, या हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस या जनरल इंश्योरेंस है तो इनके लिए कम से कम 100 करोड़ होना चाहिए और पेड अप इक्विटी कैपिटल. तो कितना सारा है, 100 करोड़ इमेजिन. और 200 करोड़ अगर री इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस है तो, री इंश्योरेंस, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली री इंश्योरेंस कंपनी की इंश्योरेंस ले रही है, so that has to be a bigger company, right? And an affidavit that they have completed, and one very very important line, a certificate from a CA/CS/CWA that all the requirements of the act have been complied with. Now grant of certificate will be given in R3 as we discussed. Then industrial license policy, again industries have to get an industrial license. This is applicable to industries have to get a industrial license. Okay, now this industrial license will be under the Industrial Development Regulation Act 1951. The object of this act is to develop and regulate industries in India. Under this act, licenses are given, industrial license is given. Sometimes, if the for some companies, industrial license have been exempted. उनको बोलते हैं आपको इंडस्ट्रियल लाइसेंस की जरूरत नहीं है, स्मॉल स्केल सेक्टर हो गया, तो उनको बोले आप खाली आईईएम फाइल करो, IEM file करो in this entrepreneurship memorandum, information memorandum only you have to file and move ahead. So we'll see industrial license. Now currently this they can ask you in the exam. This is important. Industries retained for compulsory learning. The following industries require compulsory license: alcohol, cigarettes, explosive, aerospace or defense equipment, and hazardous chemical only require industrial license. Okay, they will see the location. It shouldn't be a normal pollution. This check will be done. Impact assessment is done. Impact assessment is what? They will see of how much impact is going to be done and whether the license should be granted or no, or what should be the conditions for grant of the license. Now there are some industrial license is not needed if you are in a non sensitive zone. Some there are ecologically sensitive zones, coastal regulation zones. If you're not, you're there in some remote area, it will be allowed. Non-polluting industry like software, electronics, printing, then they will give you. And license is given by the DI, Department of Promotion of Industrial Trade and Development. Now you have this, who is the regular, like how for companies we have ROC, industries have a SIA. So under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, below them we have a SIA, Secretariat of Industrial Assistance. Now I told you IEM. What is IEM? Industrial Entrepreneur Memorandum. So companies who have been exempted from industrial license have to file a IEM. IEM has two parts. Part A is and part B. Okay, part A and part B. So part A, now this is also part A is when you fulfill the conditions, and part B is when you are going to commence the industrial production. So there's given this upgradation of paperless process for grant of IEM with a view to enhance to put the ease of business. DIIP has revamped its industrial IEM. I told you part A is a single form when you give your intention that you want to start, you fulfill the condition, and part B is when you are starting this. That's it. And your website name is dipp.gov.in. Then comes startup. Startup, there is a entire particular chapter also on startup. Here it also comes in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry under the Department of Promotion and Industrial and Internal Trade. They've given you here in this chapter, they've only given you the definition in this topic. Now what is a startup? It must have come up within the past 10 years. So it is in existence only for past 10 years from the date of incorporation. After 10 years any company is there, we cannot call it as a startup. मतलब 10 साल की एज तक max हो सकता है for a startup. Next, its turnover, and they should be registered either as a company or a LLP or a partnership firm. Then their turnover shall not exceed 100 crores, and they should be working towards innovation, development, improvement of product, process, service, okay, with a high potential of employment generation and wealth creation. So a company which is up to 10 years or in existence and has been registered as a company LLP partnership firm, turnover of 1 crore, and basically is working towards innovation development in product, process, service, and is scalable model that can have a high potential of employment generation and wealth creation. Recognition, the process of recognition of a startup, you have to make an application. While making the application, you to the DPIIT, it shall be accompanied by a certificate of incorporation, a write-up about your business idea. DIPP may call for additional information, and then they will either recognize as a startup or reject the application along with proper reasons. And that is it. We finished the chapter in one go. The full chapter we have done it. I wish you all the very best. Okay, do share this video with as many as possible so that it will help them. I've covered all the amendments from the module. Thank you very much and best of luck for your exams. And do join our Telegram group, and for the notes, download our app where I put up the past exam questions. That's it. See you all after exams. Okay.